Week two.
Week 2.
Yeah.
Episode 2. Freaky Fridays. So we had mentioned the creepy, freaky one that we had saw on TikTok about Disney World. So I actually found it, and it's from Reddit, and it's from 6 years ago, and it's Disney Security was the hashtag on it. The tag name is r/no sleep. So if you guys have heard this one, you understand why Team No Sleep for this. So I work security at Disney World. Well, I did. I work in security at Disney World, the happiest place on earth. Typically, I wouldn't say where I work, as obviously there are some pretty strict rules about things employees can put online. But I just don't think I can tell this properly without that context. And honestly, I think this may be for me anyway with this job. I just can't see myself working there any longer. I've been with the company for 23 years. The first 20 years I worked in the parks, nabbing shoplifters and rounding up people who were drinking too much for the heat. Occasionally there'd be a fight to break up, but people usually kept it pretty mild. The heat and walking was getting too much for me the last couple of years, so I asked to be transferred somewhere with AC, and the company moved me to one of their resorts. While the working conditions were 110% better as far as climate and comfort goes, the guest issues were trickier, mainly domestics. I guess the expensive and stress of the vacation got to a lot of people, and I'd be called by neighboring rooms because some mom and dad were yelling at each other. I tried to suggest that they go take a nap or go to do separate activities for a little bit, and that would usually calm them down. But none of that is what I am here for. I've got to get this out while I have time. 3 days ago, I got a call from management. Apparently, a couple of days before that, housekeeping had went into a room that should have been turned over that day. Turned over is when the guest leaves about 10 a.m. and guests check in around 3. And all the guest items were still in the room. Housekeeping made a note of it and moved on. During the next 2 days, they entered the room. Everything was still there and untouched. I went to check it out, and sure enough, there was an empty room full of luggage, clothes, snacks, some toys, and everything a family would need for vacation. The manager had already looked up the previous reservation. It was for a family, mom, dad, 2 little kids. I tried to call the phone numbers they had given, but all I got was voicemail. We were stumped a bit, so I made the call that the housekeeper could clean up the room and take the family's personal items to be held until we got in contact with someone. I went digging into the reservation more. The family had arrived 5 days before housekeeping discovered all of their stuff. I found that the family had paid a parking fee and their vehicle description was listed. A quick walk of the parking lots and I had easily located their vehicle. So I ruled out car accident or them deciding to just leave all their stuff behind. Next, I saw that they had bought a dining plan. This is where guests prepays for all their food. They're given a certain number of credits to use for meals. This family had only used 3 credits, and the last one was 2 days after they checked in. It appeared that the day they arrived, they got here late, probably just stayed on the resort. The next day, they used 2 credits at Epcot. The second park day, they used 1 credit at Magic Kingdom, and it was for breakfast. Now, at Disney, we have something called magic bands. Magic bands are worn by the guests and act as a room key, park ticket, credit card, dining reservation payment, fast pass, and more. It took some work, but I finally was able to look up the family's fast pass history. The day they went to Magic Kingdom, they had breakfast at the restaurant in the park, rode a couple of rides, and then rode their last ride. It's a Small World, around 11 a.m., then nothing. Finally, it was time to bring in someone else on this. I called an old coworker at Magic Kingdom and asked him to pull security footage for It's a Small World at the time they wrote it, and I made my way over there. When I got there, my friend was very confused, almost distraught looking. He showed me what he found. There's usually a camera in the direction of where the rides load and unload. The footage showed them scanning their bands to use fast passes for the ride and boarding the ride. The footage from the exit of the ride just showed other people exiting their car. They weren't there. Of course, we thought the worst. Maybe one of the kids had fallen out and mom and dad and the other kid got off in the middle of the ride to help. They all got injured or killed or stuck in the machinery somewhere. So we shut down the ride. Middle of the damn day. Turned off the earworm music and turned up the lights. Me and my buddy walked the ride 3 times before we called for help. Eventually, there was close to 10 team members searching, and we didn't find shit except for 3 cell phones and a hat. I was stumped. I kept digging the past couple of days. I'm not sure who to tell what I found next. I called the police, and I suppose they're on the way. But the company has a way of covering up things like this, and I decided I can't live with myself, and I want to put out some type of warning. I kept digging into the reservation in the last couple of days. I noticed that they had purchased memory makers. These are photographs from all over the park and cameras, a lot of the rides. With a memory maker, all of those photos are free. They automatically get added to the guest's Disney account where the system knows their picture has been taken. And the system always knows. Everyone's whereabouts are always known with magic bands. Well, I opened up their memory maker photo album, and I swear there was 732 pictures. The first 30 or so are pretty normal. Epcot, few rides, front of the castle, but the rest are all It's a Small World. The ride only takes 1 picture per go around. So it appears as though this family has ridden this ride over 700 times. The first picture was pretty normal. Everyone looked happy. It was a busy day and a full car of guests. The next one, it was rough to look at. The car is empty except for this little family, and they look so darn confused. The next 10 or 15, Dad is getting angry, yelling. Mom is holding on to the 2 kids like her life depends on it, and you can see the kids get increasingly upset, crying, and it goes on and on and on. After 50 or so, it looks like they're trying to get out. In one, Dad is missing. In another, they're all gone. Maybe like they've bailed early in the ride and tried to walk out. But the very next one, they're all right back in that damn car. After 450 or so, I only see the mom and kids. Then I look closely. I can see Dad, just his body now, slumped over in one of the other seats. Since about 675, there's just mom and 1 kid. The other body is in another seat. The mom and kid aren't moving. I think the 2 of them are still alive, just damn near catatonic, looking straight ahead, pale. I swear, y'all, on my fucking life, the dolls are moving or something. In some of these pictures, I can tell they aren't where they should be. I even saw one with a doll in their car with this family. I can't look anymore, or I'm going to lose my lunch. I close the album. Its file size has increased since I closed it. God, there are new pictures being added. I see on the security cameras that the local PD just arrived, so they'll take over soon. I just wish I knew what the fuck was going on. But I also wish these damn things had never landed in my lap. I don't think I'll be able to update on this one. After I talk to the police, I think I'm going to walk out of here and never come back. I just wanted to get out of here before Disney feeds the media some bullshit cover up on why a whole family just vanished. They didn't vanish. I know exactly where they are. Freaking cold chills. And that I've listened to that like 2 or 3 times now. Yep. Comments. Somebody said ex cast member here. I knew right when you said Small World that shit was going to go sideways fast. I do not fuck with Small World. Somebody said tell us more. And they said it's haunted, but you have any experiences with it, and it went on for a very long story, which we can link this so you guys can read the comments. I've always heard that It's a Small World's haunted. Like, I've always heard creepy things about it because it's just so.
Anything with dolls,
The
I'm
dolls,
out.
that's.
Like, no.
I just, like. Mm-mm.
No. No, I have my aunt, one of my aunts.
The porcelain dolls?
Yeah.
No, I don't. Nope. I hate porcelain dolls. My mom has dolls in her guest bedroom, and she's got them sitting on the dresser now, and I don't like walking in there because they stare. I have not read this one. This one is also about Disney. Stick with the theme. I've been working for Disney, and I've got some stories to tell. It's by Fles Disciple. Did you know that there's a second hidden Disneyland beneath the real one? In the early years of the park, old Walt himself decided he didn't like the characters traveling through themed areas where they didn't belong. He said it broke immersion. So he had an entire complex built beneath the Magic Kingdom. It mirrored every street, every ride, every land above it. The arrangement was designed to enable masked men to sneak around so well that your children never noticed, leaving you happy to foot the bill. Disney works very hard to keep its secrets.
That just. Ugh.
It's creepy.
Yeah.
Here's another fun fact. Every cast member has to be on stage whenever they're in a potential sight of a park guest, even janitors. So that's where I come in. For the past 20 years, I've been cleaning up every type of mess that the park visitors have the ability to make. If you come off the teacups and paint the ground with the clam chowder you just ate at Royal Street Veranda, I'll be there.
That's a picture.
That's disgusting. It's my job to whisk away the spunk with precision as a diligent surgeon. It's a lot easier than you'd think given the fact that we've been watching you from every moment your tumbly got grumbly. There are cameras on you from the moment your sheep herded into the parking spot in the morning until the tram drops you off after the fireworks at night. Things are fine if you know your place. I learned that pretty quickly. First lesson sticks out of my mind. I've been on the job 1 year, 7 months, 13 days when a distraught couple came to me and asked where they should go to inquire about a missing child. I was in the zone immediately, leading them straight to the office on Main Street, explaining how park employees would have their daughter escorted through the underground passages directly into their waiting arms. Upon arriving at the office, I opened the door, turned around, let them inside, and turned back. They were gone. I was searching furiously for them when the head of security emerged looking grim. I had gotten maybe 3 words out when he cut me off. Everything is fine, Sid. The parents have been reunited with their son. It was a daughter. That's right, their daughter. Why don't you take some time off? A week's paid vacation would give you enough time to visit Orlando. Do you know the park associates are entitled to complimentary park tickets and travel reimbursements? But it could have been much longer than a week, Sid. He grumbled with a note of grave finality. I took the plane tickets, but I went to the beach instead. I did very well for myself in the ensuing years. I cleaned up things, and I didn't question why our electric meters would occasionally record 10,000 megawatt hours used between closing at night and opening the next morning. There was no reason to ask why dozens of staff members frequently spent the night furiously cooking food that none of the night staff ever ate. I never inquired about why there was a yellow door in the passageway under Adventureland, or why I got vertigo every time I drove by it. And no one ever questioned the firm policy of distraught families that had been separated. Get them out of sight, it breaks immersion. That reason was always good enough for me. But the strangest thing that ever happened was just a couple of weeks ago. It was in the underground Disneyland, spending my break trying to forget the poopy accident I had to fix in the Alice in Wonderland ride. A costume Mickey came into the lounge, looked at me, sat on the opposite couch with his legs crossed. I smiled, nodded, and tried to zone out, which is hard to do when a cartoon mouse is staring at you. And why was he still a mouse? The first thing I do upon stepping off stage is drop my smile, let out a fart, and ease into relaxation mode. Why wouldn't someone take the first opportunity to doff a ridiculous mouse head? I stared back. He didn't move. It wasn't pleasant. I wondered if he was stuck in the damn thing. I obsessively started looking for the seams in the costume, but I couldn't find any. My blood dropped a few degrees while my stomach turned over like a beached whale as I realized there was no openings in that costume. I mean, what the hell? Was this guy sewed directly into the suit? Was the illusion that good? Could my very dull imagination ever conjured up the belief in magic? And why was he just staring at me? That's weird as shit, even without the fused cartoon mouse skin suit. There was no getting around the fact that this fucker was an odd duck who wore that fact like a badge of honor. Then it blinked. I don't mean the man inside the costume blinked. I mean those fucking giant mouse eyes rolled over to me, locked into my face, and had an anamorphic
Mm.
cartoon rodent blinked its goddamn eyes. We were alone in the room, and I was about ready to leave. A on that loose bigger shit stain than that loose bowed boy on the Alice ride. I opted, however, to turn and run into the hallway instead. I got a sudden burst of adrenaline fueled energy when I heard rapid fire footsteps behind me. I tried to outrun the thing, but my football glory days are a quarter of a century past, so that didn't work out very well. I think I made it about 300 yards before my burning lungs forced me to roll onto the ground and await my ultimate demise at a gloved hand mouse. He didn't kill me. Through my blurred vision and desperate gasps, I was barely able to make out a very man-sized shape standing above me. It was the head of security. He looked furious. Next to him was the man who looked vaguely familiar. He was tall, pale, and dressed in a gray suit with a fedora. He did not look like he had been running at all. Well, Sid, the head of security casually shouted, clearly less winded than I was. How about we send you to Europe for this vacation? I'm in Italy now. A few days ago, I started reading about other people who were coming out online about their Disney experiences. I stopped being able to accept the denial that I had worked so hard to maintain. I also noticed that a lot of other people on my tour had connections to Disney, despite the fact that we had never met and were not a part of Disney's sanctioned tour. It seemed that we had been gathered together on purpose, but someone clearly didn't want us to know what that purpose might be. It was a very odd situation at best. So I did exactly what I had been taught to do. I separate myself from the situation. That's the best way to keep things clean. I didn't show up for the day trip to Giona, and in doing so, I stayed away from the bridge that collapsed a few days back, killed everyone else in my tour group.
Nope.
And that story will end with me making it very, very clear that I won't be going home. I think I'll be much safer living anonymously in Europe. Disneyland is hiding something big. And their greatest strength isn't making you believe that the magic isn't real.
That one gave me chills all up my spine. Nope. Mm-mm.
Nope. Yeah, there are a lot of comments and stories on here, and just people like, Disney's creepy. Disney, like, they own the world, and they have proved that they can do whatever they want and get away with it.
Are they gonna come after us?
No.
Oh goodness. No, I don't like that one. I was okay with the first one since I heard it before. Like, it still freaks me out. But that one, like, the hair on the back of my neck stood up. Okay, so
Giant Mickey staring at you. Like,
no,
I picture like the old
like
one,
black and white,
yeah,
like just
where it needs to be like thrown away, like just the like 1950s, 1960s Mickey Mouse. Which we'll find a picture of what we're talking about so you guys can visualize that.
No.
I still want to go to Disney, but I will not be riding It's a Small World.
Don't go alone.
And that one's Disney. That one was Disneyland. The second one was. Don't go any weird doors that are yellow.
Tunnels or yeah.
Don't take my child and lose it. Like, what the? Oh yeah, their daughter.
Peace out.
Bye. Okay.
All right. That's number 2.
Number 2, Alyssa's turn is next. So we'll see what she comes up with.
I don't think it's gonna beat that.
So
again, if you guys have any stories of your own or any other Reddit stories or anything else, feel free to share.
Yep. Until next time, life with Loose and Liz, Freaky Friday edition. Cheers.